Good morning, everyone. Today I'm here with Larry Norton and Kumbu. Larry, it's an absolute privilege, an honor to be with you. I grew up admiring every bit about your art. We had a book which Jan and Fiona Teed wrote, The Zambezi.
Yeah.
And you know, I fancied myself as a little bit of an artist, which I'm totally not, by the way. But I remember trying to copy your sketches. And
Thanks, Vic.
here we are many years later, and I've got an opportunity to sit with you and talk to you a little bit about your story. Larry, maybe you could tell us a little bit, first of all, you know, about the young Larry and how you got into art, where it all started.
Sure, Luke. I always drew from a very early age, maybe 2 or 3. And great thanks is due to my grandmother, whose headstone is actually over there. And her name was Claire Cleaver, and she was an amateur oil painter. And very early on, she said to my parents, this boy is going to paint. And she kept all my early drawings and sketches. She bought me a set of oil paints when I was 10, and that's sort of how it started. So all through school I drew and painted. It took a while to figure out my career. I did a degree in agriculture in Australia, and then came back to the family farm, and it was only then that I figured out that I was going to paint full-time.
Amazing story. You know, you're not just an artist. You're an adventurer, explorer. Tell us a little bit about some of the trips that you've done.
I think just for my work, I always try and get material from experiences. So right from the beginning, I always try to do trips, hikes, canoe trips, kayak trips, expeditions all over Africa and in some other places to get ideas and to get the material for my paintings.
There are quite a few kayaks hanging about. Larry has told me that literally gets on the Zambezi River at least once a week, and river levels are quite high at the moment, but you're still managing to get out there, Larry.
Usually once a week or every few 10 days or so we try to get down.
Have you kayaked different rivers other than the Zambezi?
Yeah, we did a few years ago with a few guys from here. We did the Lugenda in the Niassa Game Reserve in northern Mozambique.
Wow.
And that was about 11 days going through the Niassa Game Reserve. An incredible river. So a lot of rapids and very unique vegetation and habitat.
It's so clear through your work, the passion that you have for wildlife. And that area of northern Mozambique, the Niassa, is an incredibly pristine and beautiful part of southern Africa.
Yeah.
And probably a microcosm of the conservation challenges which are faced right throughout.
Yeah.
But I'm sure something spoke to you when you were in there, as the wilderness will always speak to you. But where do you think we are as a continent? And maybe you could give us your optimistic outlook.
My father was he was a great hunter, a fisherman, and a great conservationist. And in those sort of late 70s, early 80s, the concept of introducing game onto commercial farms really started to take hold. And obviously one of the pioneers, or main one, was Norman Travers at Amiri. And Norman and my father were big mates. And Norman did extraordinary work. My dad did extraordinary work combining pastures with cattle, with game. And he built the education camp at Rifa. It was him and a few others, but their vision was extraordinary. Thousands of Zimbabwean school kids have gone through there. I think from that background, for me, I've always believed that the key is to preserve the wild areas. So even if it's through utilization, if they're hunting blocks, they have to be preserved. They have to be looked after, because that really is our heritage. If we lose those places, they're gone forever. You know, in places like Wangi National Park, they rely on buffer areas on the perimeter of those parks that are a huge resource for the whole ecosystem. And obviously it's essential in the equation that the local communities have to really benefit from this, and not just in a financial way, but in a way that it means something. You know, it's for everyone in this country. This is our heritage. We can't let it go. And so education, vision, people on the ground, you know, doing amazing stuff. Everyone has a role to play. But I think I've always been optimistic, and I still remain optimistic that we can figure this whole thing out. There's some amazing conservancies in the country. You look at what's happening in parks like Gonorrhea. There's great stuff happening, despite difficult stuff in the country. Good things happen. Down in Gonorrhea, they're about to release rhino. There's fantastic things going on.
Absolutely right. There's some incredible efforts going on, but just particularly nice to hear your thoughts on, and clearly how passionate you are about it. And you know, you can see that through your work, Larry, and I'm assuming what would be a lasting legacy for you is that your art can speak of it. Obviously speaks to people like us because we've grown up here, but if it can speak to people, and I'm sure it does, across the world, that hey, this is something that is worth conserving.
A lot of our thrust has been to try to draw attention to what is in Africa, to try and get people back to travel, to get businesses back on their feet, to sustain the wild areas.
Larry, it's inspiring walking around and being in your studio. Thank you so much for opening your space for us. Now, you're working at the moment on a 10-part giant Zimbabwe series of paintings. Please talk us through a little bit of what inspired that, and then maybe we can talk about some of the paintings.
Okay. Luke, they're 10 massive paintings of Zimbabwe. It's probably a lifetime project. I've been going at it for a number of years, and it'll be quite a few more years before it's complete. But out of the 10, I've completed 5. I'm working on number 6. They consist of monopools, completed, Chimani Mani, done, Gonorrhea, I've done, Lake Kariba, done. This is the Victoria Falls one, called Angels, and it was done quite recently, of the falls at very high water. And it's unusual in that there are actually 3 rainbows in it. I don't know if you can see. There's the double rainbow over the top, and right in the middle is a fractured central rainbow. It was an amazing sight.
It's very, very special. Was there any particular reason that you chose the order of paintings the way you've done, or was it just what inspired you at the time?
The way it worked was initially a good friend commissioned 2 big pieces, one of Mana, one of Chimani Mani. Excuse me, and that's really where it started. And then as each piece has been commissioned, because they're massive commitments time-wise and work-wise, so I've waited until the pieces are commissioned, and then I go ahead. The ones I still have to do are Great Zimbabwe. I'm just about to begin on the one of Wangi National Park, which is the view from Cinematella. Then I'll still have to do Inyanga. I want to do one of Chiweshi communal land. It's near where I grew up, with a big sort of granite outcrops, and Inyanga.
Beautiful. And I did notice across on your sketching table that up next is Cinematella and the view from Cinematella.
Sure.
Could we have a look at
sure.
how that's going to come out?
Yeah. So this is the preparatory sketch for the Cinematella piece. It'll be 3 meters long and over 1 meter high. And it's all based on stuff that I've seen. So it's the view in October, very, very dry, incredible vista from up at Cinematella. Some time ago, I'd seen a massive elephant bull there, a single tusker, and his left tusk was probably about 100 pounds. I'd also seen a leopard there, so I've included those. And then down on the plain below, where there's a pan, a herd of buffalo and some giraffe moving across. But from here, I'll then go to the next stage, and maybe you'll be back at some point and you can see it in progress. I'll draw this out in great detail on the blank canvas, which you can see there below the Chimani print. And it'll probably take me a week of drawing to sketch this on, and then I'll balance it, I'll get the composition right, and then I've got weeks and months of painting it ahead.
Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah. And Larry, as you say, we're going to have to come back because there's so much here. But this particular painting of Chimani has really spoken to me. And I just absolutely love the depth. I grew up as part of a mountain club at school.
Yeah.
And hiked through this incredibly beautiful part of the eastern part of Zimbabwe. We've got what I think is a peregrine falcon.
No, it's a lana.
A lana.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, here we go.
Which I saw right there. Yeah.
Tell people that I wasn't too far off though. They're fairly similar looking.
Yeah. So Chimani is down there. That's the old hotel.
Okay.
And I was commissioned to do the piece, and I was given sort of pretty much free range. I went up there went up and hiked. This is the Chimani National Park up there. Walked all through there. The view looks through into Mozambique, and I got incredible shots. But then came back, and you know that weather. It was misty and rainy and no visibility, very grey. And then early one morning, I was up, and I could see stars at about 4:30 in the morning.
Wow.
And so I quickly raced up Pork Pie Hill, and it was a beautiful clear sky as dawn broke. And then I got the material for the painting. I'd seen the Lana Falcon down at the bottom.
We've come across to Kariba.
This is the massive painting for Lake Kariba. And the scene is, you can just see Boomy Hills up there. This is near Tishinga, where as kids we spent endless holidays with ridiculous amounts of freedom. Our parents went and did their own thing in their boat. Aged from 6 to probably 14, we were given a little rubber duck with a 5 horsepower engine, and we potted around here. I actually also photographed and later painted the Chura bull, one of Zimbabwe's best known tuskers, who lived in this area, and then he was killed by a younger bull elephant. But also in this, there are massive herds. There was fantastic herds of buffalo there, and those sort of September, October sunsets on the lake are just unforgettable.
It's such a special place, and been privileged also to have grown up spending many days on Kariba and under those night skies, and a place where that light, you just don't find light quite like it.
No.
But this is a particularly special part of the lake. on the edge of the Matusadona Mountains, which are sort of coming across on this side here.
Yeah, and around the back.
And around the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful sight. You get lost in your paintings, Larry, because there's so much detail and you capture each and every animal so beautifully. But that dust coming off those buffs as they're coming down for a
fish eagle there as well.
Fish eagle in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these egrets hoping for a little snack as the chura bull goes past. Lovely. If you like this episode and don't want to miss out on other ones, please go to YouTube, look for Luke Brown Zim, and hit the subscribe button. Thanks.